The wind rolled over the plains like a long sigh, carrying dust across the worn trail. Nathaniel Brooks, known across 3 counties as the richest rancher for miles, rode his paint stallion toward town. People admired him for his success, feared him for his temper, and quietly whispered that after losing his wife 2 winters ago, the man had turned to stone. But no one knew how deeply he still cared, how quickly he'd help a stranger, or how lonely the walls of Brooks Ranch had become. He had ridden into town that gray afternoon for nothing more than flour, sugar, and nails. The ranch hands were preparing for the early cold season, and he'd promised to be back before dusk. But fate had other plans. As he passed the abandoned rail house near the edge of town, he heard something. A faint cry. A woman's voice, thin as a thread. Please, please don't take the last one." Nathaniel reined in his horse hard. Inside the broken-down building, a man was yelling. A heavy boot hit wood. A child whimpered, and Nathaniel dismounted and stormed inside. A tall, rough-faced drifter was snatching a cloth bundle from a woman kneeling on the floor. Her arms were wrapped around 2 children, both thin as reeds. "Sir," she begged, her voice cracking, "that's all we have. We haven't eaten in 5 days. Please, don't take it." The drifter snarled. "That ain't my problem." "It is now," Nathaniel said, his voice deep and steady. The man whirled. "Who are you? Get out. I got here first." Nathaniel didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. "Put the bundle down." The drifter took one look at Nathaniel's boots, his coat, the fine leather of his holster, and decided this wasn't worth dying for. Cursing, he dropped the bundle and stormed out. Nathaniel waited until he heard footsteps fade before he turned toward the woman. She lifted her head slowly. Her face was pale, almost hollow, and her cheekbones sharp. But her eyes were warm honey, filled with pain, desperation, and a strength that surprised him. "Ma'am," he said softly. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head, though she was trembling. "Just scared. For them." Nathaniel stepped closer. 2 children clung to her sides. A little boy around 7. A girl no more than 4. He set his hat over his heart. "Nathaniel Brooks, ma'am. Rancher out west." She swallowed, trying to gather herself. "Ella Carter. Widow." The word hung between them like a cold wind. "I'm sorry," he said. She gave a tight nod. "That bundle is all the food we had left. A few potatoes and stale biscuits. I was trying to stretch it for the children, but," her voice cracked, "we haven't eaten in 5 days, Mr. Brooks." Nathaniel's chest tightened so hard it almost hurt. He knelt and opened the bundle. Inside were indeed 2 small potatoes and 2 biscuits that looked like they could break teeth. A child should never have to live like this. No one should. He stood abruptly. "Come with me." Ella's head jerked up. "What? No. I can't. You don't know us. You don't have to be known to be helped." She hesitated, fear mixing with pride. "Sir, life has taught me that no one gives something for nothing. I'm not no one." The little girl tugged at her mother's sleeve. "Mama, I'm hungry." That did it. Ella's shoulders collapsed in defeat. "All right. Just until I get the children fed." Nathaniel didn't argue. He led them outside, helped the children onto his horse, and handed Ella the reins while he walked beside them into town. Every head turned as they passed. The richest cowboy escorting a frail widow and 2 starving children? People whispered. People judged. Nathaniel ignored them. He took them straight into the general store. The owner, Mr. Chapman, blinked at the sight. "Brooks, what's this?" Nathaniel removed his hat. "Fill a box. Food for the week. Bread, beans, bacon, flour, apples, whatever you've got fresh." Chapman hesitated. "Is this a purchase or charity?" Nathaniel's eyes went cold. "Does it matter?" "No, sir, of course not." While Chapman packed the supplies, Nathaniel knelt to the children. "What are your names?" "James," the boy whispered. "Lydia," the little girl peeped. "Well, James and Lydia," Nathaniel said, "how about we find a place for you to eat something warm?" Their eyes widened with cautious hope. He led them to the diner across the road. Ella hesitated again on the doorstep. "Mr. Brooks, we can't afford. I didn't ask you to pay." She stared at him a long moment, then quietly followed inside. Nathaniel ordered bowls of beef stew, cornbread, and warm milk for the children. When the food arrived, James and Lydia stared at it like it was a miracle. "Go ahead," Nathaniel encouraged. The boy ate first. Then the girl. Then, after a long moment, Ella picked up her spoon. Her hand shook so badly that Nathaniel had to pretend not to notice. He watched them eat, feeling something pull at him in a way he hadn't felt in years. Perhaps since before his wife died. Something like protectiveness. Something like purpose. After the meal, Ella wiped her children's mouths with trembling fingers. "Thank you," she whispered. "But we can't keep depending on others. I need work. Anything. I'll clean floors, wash laundry, cook, sew, just something steady so my children don't starve again." Nathaniel studied her. She was exhausted, fragile, worn thin by hardship. And yet, he saw a strength there. A determination that humbled him. "You said you're a widow," he asked gently. She nodded. "My husband died of fever last winter. I've been trying to get us west, where my sister lives, but we ran out of money 2 towns back. We've been walking ever since." She swallowed. "I didn't know it would be this hard." Nathaniel hesitated only a moment. "Come to my ranch." Her breath hitched. "Sir, I need a cook. And someone trustworthy around the house. It's too big for one man." Ella shook her head fast. "People will talk. About you. About me. They already are." Nathaniel shrugged. "Let them." She stared at him, torn between fear and hope. Before she could respond, little Lydia climbed into Nathaniel's lap without hesitation. The child rested her head against his chest and fell asleep instantly. Ella gasped, covering her mouth as her eyes filled with tears. "I can't take advantage of your kindness," she whispered. "You're not." He stood with Lydia in his arms, careful not to wake her. "Come to the ranch. Stay a week. See if it suits you. And if it doesn't," she murmured, "then I'll make sure you get safely to your sister." Ella looked at him as if he were unreal. As if no one had ever offered such a thing before. Because maybe no one had. Early evening fell as Nathaniel hitched the supply wagon and helped them aboard. The children slept curled against Ella's sides. She watched Nathaniel drive the horses with quiet bewilderment. Halfway to the ranch, she finally spoke. "Why are you doing this?" Nathaniel didn't turn his head. "Because I've seen hunger. And because no woman should have to face it alone with 2 little ones." She watched him closely. "There's something else." He hesitated. "Maybe I don't like empty houses." Something softened in her expression. Something warm. Something dangerous. The ranch appeared on the horizon like a quiet promise. Rolling fields, a big white house, barns standing proud against the dimming sky. Ella gasped softly. This is yours?" "It's ours," Nathaniel said before he could catch himself. She stared at him. He corrected quickly, "It's mine. But while you're here, it's yours too." Her cheeks warmed. "Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Call me Nathaniel." She swallowed. Nathaniel. He hadn't heard his name said that softly in a long time. Inside, he showed them the guest room. Ella set the children on the bed and brushed their hair back with trembling fingers. "Thank you," she whispered again. "I don't know how to repay you." Nathaniel leaned on the doorframe. "You already have." "How?" He took a breath. "You reminded me what it means to care again." Her lips parted. "Nathaniel," she whispered. A quietness passed between them. A gentleness that surprised them both. He cleared his throat. "I'll let you rest." She stepped forward and caught his hand lightly. Her fingers were cold and small, but her touch held warmth. "Nathaniel," she murmured, voice shaking. "You didn't just save us. You saved me." His throat tightened. "Ella," but he didn't finish. He didn't need to. The next morning, she cooked breakfast, biscuits, eggs, gravy, bacon. He hadn't tasted a meal that good in years. The children laughed on the porch. The house felt alive again. Nathaniel watched Ella move around the kitchen. With grace, her hair loose around her shoulders, her voice humming softly as she worked. Something settled in his chest, something final. One afternoon, 3 days after bringing her home, he found her hanging laundry, the sunlight turning her hair gold. "We can leave next week," she said quietly, misunderstanding his silence. "We'll save enough by then." Nathaniel stepped closer. "Ella, you and the children don't have to leave." She froze. "Nathaniel," he took her hands gently, "you came here starving. All you asked for was food." He paused. "I want to give you more." Her breath trembled. "I can't take advantage of, you aren't." His voice softened. "Ella Carter? I want you to stay. As my wife." She stumbled back, stunned. "What? I haven't offered my name to anyone since my wife died. But you brought life back into this house. Into me. He exhaled shakily. I want to protect you. And your children. Always. Tears spilled down her cheeks. You want to give us your name? She whispered that he kept her face gently down. I want to give you everything. Ella threw her arms around him and sobbed into his chest. Not with fear. Not with hunger, but with relief, with hope, with love. Nathaniel held her tightly, feeling the world shift into place.